Hey, welcome to 9394, a music podcast with me, Travis. I'm always happy to have you here. Thanks for joining me. The Metal Professor is back. My friend Brandon Callahan has come back to the show yet again to educate me, and perhaps you, if you're not already well acquainted with the information, about an important metal album from the era. Talking about Chaos A.D. from the band Sepultura, released in 1993. Brandon is a good dude and a regular contributor to the show, and he's always got a lot to say about these metal bands. He came on and talked Bad Religion with us last time, so it's good to get him back in his metal wheelhouse. Check out our conversation. Hey, how's it going, man?
What's up?
How are you?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm doing all right. Doing okay. Anything new shaking with you?
Oh man, just tearing up summer the best I can.
You're going abroad soon, aren't you?
Yes, we leave, my girlfriend and I, July 3rd for Birmingham, England for Ozzy's last concert.
Wow. How long will you be there for?
I always told myself there was like rumors that this was going to be announced, so I was like, if it comes up, I'm going to go. And I managed to get tickets, and I was like, well, now I have to go. So it wasn't a planned event, so it's a very short trip.
Oh, okay. So just kind of a blitzkrieg visit just for the show, but at least you get a dose of Birmingham. That's where it is, Birmingham? Not
yeah,
London.
And then the next day we're going to London for a Slayer concert.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
Yeah, so we're packing it in.
Yeah, definitely. Sounds like your kind of vacation. That's great.
Zero sightseeing.
Well, you'll see sights, just not distinctly British ones.
Yeah, on the way to and fro the concert.
Right. That's great. Well, I'm glad you're getting to do that. I know that Ozzy's a big deal for you. I know Slayer's a big deal for you.
We had planned to go to Thorpe Park, which is like the premier roller coaster park in London. But then Slayer announced the show, and we're like, well, Slayer trumps roller coasters for us, I guess.
I'm surprised. I know they're pretty evenly tied for
you. It was a hard choice.
Right on. Missed you at the bigger Bear vs. Shark show. It was cool seeing them at the smaller venue, but it was pretty nice seeing them the other night at the St. Andrews.
Yeah, I was trying to save money for the England trip.
Understandable.
I heard it was a good one, though.
It was great. In some ways, the Outer Limits show was better because we were like right there, all of us, but they were more on point.
Probably better openers, I would assume.
I didn't even watch any of the openers, to be honest. Just classic old guy. It was cool. It was fun.
And then plus, I just went to Tampa like 3 days before that. I was trying to save money, yet I went to Tampa, so I don't know, whatever. My priorities.
I understand. Should we get into it?
Yeah, let's rock.
All right, let's do it. So welcome back to 9394. This is your fifth visit? Something like that? You've been on a lot. You're one of my main contributors at this point.
This would be number 5 for me.
What else did you do? You did Bad Religion most recently. You did Stranger Than Fiction.
Yep, I did.
You
Pantera.
Pantera was the first one I think you did.
Yes.
Far Beyond Driven. We did, hang on, don't tell me. We did that best of, no, we did that B-sides album, or what was it? We did like a Anthrax album of some kind.
This is like a quiz for you.
Yes, it is.
Like you do at the end.
This is my 97th episode, I think, so I got to sort through them in my mind.
We did Metallica, the box set.
Shit bins and turds. Wait, hang on. Shit bins and turds.
I like bins and turds better.
That was a sincere stumble. I wasn't trying to make a joke.
No, that's a good answer.
Okay, so this is your fifth. Yeah. Anthrax, Metallica, Bad Religion, Pantera, and now this. Okay, I can do that. So Sepultura is what we're doing today. Which album?
We are doing Sepultura, Chaos A.D. from 1993.
Yeah, I believe it's their first album. Is that correct?
No, this is...
Am I wrong?
Yes, this would be their... let me do some math here. Morbid Vision, Schizophrenia, Beneath the Remains. This is their fifth album.
Oh, okay, kind of a breakthrough album for them, but they were well into it by this point.
Yes, okay. This is definitely one of their breakthrough albums.
Yeah. So how'd you get into it? Do you remember?
Yeah, Sepultura was probably on like the third wave of bands I discovered after Metallica. Mm-hmm. Everything goes at kind of like a frenzied pace when you're young and discovering, a bunch of new music.
Yeah.
But probably about late 96, early 97, I got into Sepultura, and I got this album pretty quick on one of my family's many weekend trips to Borders Books and Music in
Classic.
Southeast Michigan.
Now, right. So you got an extended version in 96 or 97, right? But we're going to look at the album version that came out in 1993. The version you grew up with had like 3 extra tracks on it, I want to say.
Yeah, 96 they had reissued Chaos A.D. with bonus tracks.
Yeah, like the song from Mortal Kombat and some other stuff.
Mm-hmm. Some live stuff.
If you really want to get into that stuff, we can, but we'll just kind of look at the album as it was in 93 for the most part.
Just fine with me.
So what turned you on to Sepultura then? How'd you get into them?
So, like I said, discovering new bands.
Yeah.
Back in the day, back in the 90s, it was, word of mouth and magazines and album review books, and there's always kind of like a mythos to them because they're like the thrash band from Brazil that like is underground and not many people have heard of it. So it's like very intriguing. So I was like, I need to dig into this Sepultura, and I found the Beneath the Remains album, which was probably their first like main commercial breakthrough in America.
Okay.
It came out the same year as Injustice for All, so like I was kind of gauging like other bands at like what point Metallica was at with their releases. So that came out the same year as Injustice for All, and listening to both of those albums side by side, and I was just like, wow, like Sepultura is insane. They have the speed and the thrashiness of like a Slayer and the intensity. They just have this like almost tribal quality to the drumming.
Yeah.
Probably from being from Brazil, I would say. Latin rhythms.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's just this something always a little different about them in a great way. And yeah, the Beneath the Remains album just blew me away. And from then on, I was just like, anything Sepultura I need to get my hands on. And Chaos A.D. was probably the second or third album I got by them.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not the connoisseur of metal the way that you are, but I do feel like, based on my limited knowledge of metal, that these guys are really sampling from a bunch of different subgenres of metal. Like, clearly they're metal, and then thrash metal primarily, but you definitely hear like death metal in there. I hear a lot of like almost like hardcore metal. Like, they remind me of stuff that came out, some of what they're doing here, like the Chugga Chugga stuff reminds me of stuff that came out just a few years later from like Hatebreed and Earth Crisis and Harvest, like that kind of Chugga Chugga, like I Want to See a Circle metal, kind of hardcore. They're really kind of like drawing from a bunch of different things here. It's pretty interesting. For me, I first heard of them as a noob, as a non-metal guy. I heard of them when this album came out in 93, but that was because of Headbangers Ball on MTV. What was that dude's name? Was it Ricky Rackman? I think
that's
was
him.
The guy, right? Ricky Rackman introduced me to Sepultura, and I'm going to go ahead and say right now that the song that introduced me in the video is still my favorite song from this album because it's the only one I have any nostalgia for. Territory.
awesome
song is badass. I like that you can kind of hear his accent in there, but it's still just such a tough song. And I remember the video just being like blown away by it because I was into Megadeth. I think I've told you that before. Like I was into some metal, like Ozzy in like the early 90s, but I started to fade out of that stuff pretty quickly by 93, 94. So this was one of the last metal bands to really grab me from that era. I think I even got the cassette from Columbia House, I want to say, but it's not one I spent a lot of time with. But that song, Territory in particular, it's one that like, yeah, I feel like it's a classic from the era, from the, not necessarily the top 20 of the 90s, but, you know, they were up there with like En Vogue.
Oh, yeah.
But that song to me is definitely like a really classic song, Territory. It's so tough.
Yeah, the second I hear that drum intro, it's classic. It's an amazing song. And I want to touch really quick because you said a lot of different genres. And that's one of the reasons Sepultura was always like really intriguing to me, was they were at the forefront of so many different genres of metal. Going back to the 80s when they first started, they were kind of black metal, death metal back when that wasn't even really a thing. Like they heard of Venom and they heard of other bands and they just kind of took that. And this was like 86, you know? And then after that, Schizophrenia and Beneath the Remains are just straight thrash, like Slayer, Anthrax, Megadeth, Metallica, thrash. And also the next album, Arise. And this Chaos A.D. is when they kind of switched sounds and kind of abandoned the thrash, slowed down the tempos, and now they're on the forefront of like hardcore, new metal, groove metal, and like they don't even know it yet because this is 93 when that's barely a thing, you know what I mean?
They're helping to create it, right?
Yeah.
And that to me is their strongest stuff on this album, is when they slow it down and they're more chugga. Like I definitely have a lot more personal familiarity and affection for that kind of metal myself.
Like all of their albums have like a different sound and almost a different genre, and like they kind of evolve. And well, until Max left the band, but we can get to that later. But yeah, and then like that culminates with like Chaos A.D., the sound of that album, and you know, Territory is just a prime example of that. Slowed down, tribal drum intro, and just heavy subject matter, and
yeah.
you can hear the like the angst in his voice when he's screaming these lyrics, and like you said, you can hear his Brazilian accent come out a little bit.
In a good way. Yeah. It's a badass song. I'm kind of surprised that they didn't get a little bigger off that song. I mean, they got big enough where, you know, they're getting regular MTV rotation even outside of Headbangers Ball, I believe, but still, maybe it's a little too much for the normies.
Yeah, they've always kind of been just like under the surface of what most, you know, normal metalheads or whatever, entry level metal, whatever you want to call, would kind of know about. It's like you usually hear about them from somebody else.
Yeah, I feel you. So what about you then? What's your favorite song in this album?
I had a hard time with this even up until recording, but for me, my favorite song is Propaganda.
That was my second favorite. Song's awesome.
I love a song that has varied tempos, and like it starts off just thrashing, double bass going, tremolo picking, he's screaming, and then there's also like a midsection after the solo where it just slows down and just grooves.
Yeah.
The lyrics is just straight to the point. It's about propaganda.
It's bad. Yeah, watch out.
Yeah. No metaphors, it's just straight to the point, which it doesn't always have to be a metaphor.
There's something about the directness of his lyrics on this album that I really like. It's kind of refreshing.
Yeah, I've heard him describe it as this album as riot music.
That's good. That makes sense. Like, this is music to like have a revolution to it.
Yeah, just like the first track, Refuse, Resist. You know what I mean? Even the chorus of that song kind of sounds like a protest. But yeah, that's Propaganda just does everything for me, and I used to love to play it on drums when I'd be playing. It'd be in my practice sets.
You still play?
No, I have a Easy Drummer now, but
okay.
The sequencing program. But I have a
Right.
kit still at my parents' house that I've yet to bring to my house for neighbor appeasing purposes.
That's understandable. Can't all be Sepultura.
Yeah. Propaganda is definitely my favorite song on the album, but it's a close call. There's so many bangers on this album.
You have a lot more familiarity with this album than I do, but that was one of the ones that stuck out to me too. Propaganda. There's a couple others as well, but Propaganda was definitely one of the ones I was like, okay, this is a standout song on this album, because some of it does bleed together a little bit to someone who's not super familiar with the album. I haven't spent a ton of time with it, back in the day, but that was fucking 32 years ago. So, but yeah, it's a pretty cool song. Now, you said that there were some people left the band. What's going on with all that?
Okay, so Sepultura has it's basically, the frontman is Max Cavalera, and it's basically post Max and with Max. It's like there's basically two Sepultura.
Oh, okay.
He left the band in 1996, and they were never the same after that. His brother, Igor Cavalera, plays drums in Sepultura, and he left a few years after Max. So, like, once those brothers left, Sepultura was just a shell of themselves.
I see.
In my opinion, and the music was never as great.
Well, I mean, to lose a vocalist is always a big hit to a band, but then, drummers are funny because some bands just go through drummers like Spinal Tap and it's just fine. But there are some drummers, like it seems like this guy, where they're so precise and so at the top of their field for the specific genre that they're playing in that it'd be hard to replace them.
And Max was also rhythm guitar and one of the main riff writers as well.
Yeah. Okay. So he's writing songs, he's writing lyrics, he's singing. So yeah, all of that's going to dramatically change. So a big change and not for the better is what I'm hearing.
Yeah. So after 96, Sepultura went on with its new formation, and Max kind of did his own thing with the band Soulfly.
Oh, they were terrible. I'm sorry. I thought
the first two albums are very new metal and kind of cringe, but after that, he got back to the Sepultura sound.
Oh, okay.
So Sepultura was pretty much Soulfly after.
Because all I heard was back in the day, I heard like early Soulfly songs.
Yeah.
I had no idea it was him, and I really hated it. But I'm not a new metal guy.
Yeah, I'm not a new metal guy either. So, I wasn't on board with the new Sepultura, and I was like okay-ish with like the new Soulfly. But yeah, like I said, after a few, like I think 3 albums, he got back to the like Sepultura sound. And then he also had another project called Cavalera Conspiracy, which is still going with his brother Igor. So basically that Sepultura now is Soulfly and Cavalera Conspiracy.
Interesting. So back to Chaos A.D. What about your least favorite song on this album?
My least favorite song would be We Who Are Not As Others.
It's almost sludgy. It's almost too slow, and it takes a while to get to the point.
Yeah, it's just a slow, sludgy like instrumental, which is okay, and with
it's not bad.
A repeating lyric that just says "we who are not as others," and it's there. It's kind of boring.
Yeah, not terrible, but kind of feels like album filler a little bit.
Yeah, this almost felt like it could have been an EP at spots with some of the filler, like a cover and two like almost instrumentals. And
yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, like, I'm never really a big fan of covers on albums personally. I think that's like for B-sides and that kind of stuff. And then there's a couple of Kiowas is another one that kind of like, it's not bad, but it's
cool.
Kind of, it's cooler. It's more interesting than We Who Are Not As Others. But again, they're both just kind of like droney, which I don't hate interstitial songs within an album. Like, they can be mood setters and be really integral to how that album plays, even though they're not like songs that could ever be a single. But I can understand it being your least favorite. I'm not going to pick a least favorite because I'm not as familiar with the album, but I think you picked the one that I would have picked anyway.
Yeah, it's just kind of filler and whatever. It'd be left out.
Yeah, it just kind of doesn't blow you away. I get it.
Yeah.
Makes sense. All right, well, that's always the least fun part of it. Let's go back into Celebration. How about now, I mean, arguably an underrated band, right? But what about your underrated song on this album?
For me, my underrated song is, which was also like, was also a tough choice.
Yeah.
But for me, it was Nomad. In middle school, Dane Koval and I used to like sing that to each other in class. Be like, "No man, it's slow, it's sludgy." Max said that was kind of like their answer to Metallica's "Sad But True."
Okay,
one of their inspirations. And kind of slow, sludgy. It wasn't in their wheelhouse.
Yeah, but not like a ballad, right? Like some of the stuff that Metallica was doing at that time. Not overly romantic. It's still very metal and very tough. Basically, we've named like the three I considered to be my favorites. Well, there's one or two others, but this one is probably the most straightforward, like hardcore kind of feel that I'm more familiar with, that resonates with me more. You could pick up quarters to this one. You could swing some windmills around, that kind of stuff. I like it. Yeah, it's a good song.
I love the lyrical theme he does in it. It's just like a nomad traveling through the desert, basically. And it paints a cool picture, and it's heavy as hell. It's just a behemoth of a song.
Yeah, what do you call it? Like riot music. There's so much political stuff on this, like Biotech is Godzilla and Slave New World. And there's a lot of stuff on here that has a very like, not heavy-handed, but very direct theme and like thing that they're talking about. Whereas Nomad feels a lot more like just kind of generic metal, but I don't mean that in a bad way. Just kind of like this is a more vague kind of theme and like lyrical content that you could almost hear in any metal album from the era.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't look up the meaning behind it, but it could be about nomadic tribes of South America. I don't know.
Sure, yeah, there could be a lot more to it than is immediately apparent to me. Good point.
I might just be putting that in, but I wouldn't surprise me the way Sepultura is on this album.
Yeah, this is a very politically conscious album, socially conscious album.
Well, you had mentioned Biotech is Godzilla. Did you see the liner notes on it?
I did not.
Biotech is Godzilla was written by Jello Biafra.
Oh, that's wild. Okay.
Yeah, Max Cavalera had contacted Jello Biafra because Max is a giant Dead Kennedys fan. And he's like, you want to do something for the new Sepultura album? I was thinking maybe something like Nazi Punk's Fuck Off Part 2-ish. And he's like, no, I'm not into that. but he had just went to a climate summit, Jello Biafra. And he sold Max on this Biotech is Godzilla song, and they loved it and put it on the album.
Biotech is Godzilla. Godzilla. Mutations cooking lab, automatic experiments, new food and medicine, new germs and accidents, like Kumato, war, small polluted down, air melts your face, they want truth all around.
Did he write the lyrics and the music, or just the lyrics?
He wrote the lyrics, but it's very punk.
Okay. Because it felt in tune with the rest of the stuff that they're doing, Sepultura, but yeah, maybe a little bit more thrash or punk.
Yeah, it's a lot of open power chords in the verses.
Yeah, kind of catchy, too.
Yeah.
I like that one.
I always read the liner notes as a kid, like digging into who did what and whatever, and I was like, Jello Biafra? I didn't even know who that was. I had to,
What a funny name.
yeah, I had to look it up and figure out Dead Kennedys from there. But yeah, that's kind of how I heard of the Dead Kennedys, was Biotech is Godzilla.
Oh, that's interesting. So, I guess if you got into these guys in 96, and then Max left in 96, did you ever get a chance to see them live in any form, like as Sepultura or as Soulfly or as whatever the third band, Max, whatever?
Yeah, I never saw Max with Sepultura, but I've seen Max with Soulfly and Cavalier Conspiracy several times. So I would have seen Igor too in Cavalier Conspiracy. Most recently, in May, I was at the Sonic Temple Festival in Columbus, Ohio. And on the main stage at 2 p.m., Cavalier Conspiracy took the stage. They played Territory. They played Refuse Resist off this album.
Awesome. Anything else from Sepultura, or just those two?
Oh, it was an all Sepultura set.
So basically they're touring, playing Sepultura songs, but just they can't have the name.
Well, they re-recorded the first 4 Sepultura albums under the name Cavalier Conspiracy because they still have the rights to that music.
Okay.
And plus the production on it when it was first recorded was pretty horrendous.
Yeah, sure. It's a while ago.
Yeah, the last few years, Cavalier Conspiracy has kind of retro-formed themselves into Sepultura, and they play basically all old Sepultura songs. So that's basically what you get to see now. If you want to see what I consider the real Sepultura is, Cavalier Conspiracy.
Yeah, I imagine seeing Sepultura as they are today. Are they still playing? Do you know?
Yes, they
are.
So
seeing them today, if they're playing stuff from the Max years, it's just not going to hit the same.
No, the bass player and the guitar player are still in the band from back in the day, but without the brothers, it's just like it's soulless for me. And Sepultura proper is actually on their retirement tour right now because nobody's fucking interested in it.
I mean, do the real heads know that they got to check out Cavalier Conspiracy instead if they want to see Sepultura live?
It's definitely catching on now that they're being booked at festivals and stuff.
Well, good for them.
Because Sepultura is definitely not being booked at any of these festivals.
Well, I mean, it's kind of a bummer when that kind of shit happens, but I'm glad that the main songwriter is able to continue doing the stuff that he wrote, that he did, and with his own brother, which is cool.
Well, what's even cooler is it's called Cavalier Conspiracy, and the bass player is actually one of Max's sons.
Oh, that is cool. A family affair.
Yeah. And then also on this Chaos A.D. album, the very first thing you hear, it sounds like a sound effect, like a ba-doo, 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 at the beginning of Refuse Resist. That's the in utero heartbeat of his son, Max's son, Zion.
Wow.
Who, coincidentally enough, this gets even crazier, is now the drummer for Max in Soulfly.
Okay, that's interesting. So when he plays with Soulfly, he's not playing with his brother, he's playing with his son.
Correct.
Okay.
And then in Cavalier Conspiracy, he's playing with his other son and his brother.
Wow. All right. No matter how you see Max these days, you're getting like him with family, which means that he's probably a happier musician as he tours.
Yeah, anytime you see him live, he's always smiling. He's always having a great time, just soaking it up.
That's cool. How many times have you seen him? Do you know?
Soulfly, I've seen 4 times, and Cavalier Conspiracy, I've seen 3 times.
Awesome. Well, anything else you want to say about Chaos AD before we move on to wrap it up?
No, I think we've covered it pretty well. I mean, it could have been an EP, like I said, with like Refuse, Resist, Territory. I do want to mention Slave New World.
It's a good one.
Yeah, that was one of the singles. It's very catchy. It was co-written by the frontman of Biohazard.
Oh, cool. Another big one from the era.
Yeah, so like you can kind of see them trying to like starting to formulate like a groove metal.
So they've always been pretty collaborative, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Not something you necessarily get with a lot of metal bands, I feel.
No, it's one of the one things I love about hip-hop albums that doesn't really carry over to like the rock metal world. It's like collabs and guesting. Like,
yeah. I mean, you get it some, but not like in hip-hop, yeah. And definitely not in metal. Like, I feel like the more precise and the more physical stamina and technical prowess I think that is involved in a specific genre, a lot of times the people within that genre of music are not very interested in branching out and playing with others, in my experience. A lot of times it's like, look what I can do. I'm the fastest drummer ever. I can, hit the fastest riffs, whatever. And it seems like a lot of times we're not as interested in working with others. Where you start getting into like punk or indie or stuff like that, you're going to have a little bit more crossover and people sharing vocals and that kind of stuff, in my opinion.
Yeah, like when I first got into punk, that was one of the things I enjoyed about it. It seemed more collaborative than metal.
Yeah, I think so.
And also the album cover of Chaos A.D. I don't know if you checked that out.
I did. Yeah, I remember it. It's stands out. I'm looking at it right now. Yeah. Dude wrapped up like a mummy upside down, some like chemical/mechanical shit.
It's like a futuristic like mummy device that's like dipping his head in some liquid.
It's such a metal cover. It's a classic metal kind of cover. No skulls or bones or anything, but still, it's very like the threat of physical violence.
Yeah, it definitely fits the atmosphere of the album, I would say.
Yeah.
Which also the production does too on this album. It's kind of like a little dry.
Yeah, but not like in a tinny way.
No.
It's almost like a Steve Albini kind of way. It's like very like you're hearing exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, like dry and slightly sterile, but in like a good way.
Yeah, it's a well-produced album. Do you know who did it?
Yeah, it was Andy Wallace.
Oh, shit.
Our boy Andy.
Yeah, he knows how to do stuff.
He's all over the 90s.
Yeah, he's one of those guys. There was like 5 producers apparently in the 1990s.
He produced the last album I came on and did, Stranger Than Fiction.
Yeah, from Bad Religion. That's right. We did talk about him. That was a busy time period for him.
This album did chart on the top 200.
That's a pretty big deal, I think. I mean, for this kind of genre, not something that happens all the time.
Especially for Sepultura, like an underground band like that from Brazil. It's just, it peaked at 32.
That's high.
Yeah, in the week of November 5th of 93.
I would assume, and not sure if you know, but that this is their best performing album in terms of sales. Do you know? Is it their most popular?
I believe that would be Roots.
Yeah.
The number 1 album of the week it debuted was Pearl Jam Versus.
Oh, hey, I've done that on the show. Very different album, but a great one as well. Cool. Well, I always wrap things up by kind of like asking random questions, right? Well, I'm going to get linguistic with you, Brandon.
Oh boy.
Good luck. Because I don't speak Portuguese either, but I'm going to hit you with some Portuguese phrases and you're going to try and translate them for us.
Awesome.
Sound good? I'm going to give you 5. I think that 3 of them are pretty obvious. I'm not trying to trip you up. You know what I mean? I think you have a pretty good chance of getting the majority of these right, if not all of them.
Let's give it a whirl.
All right. I'll start off with the easiest. Metal de muerte.
Something about death.
Metal?
Oh, death metal.
Death metal is correct. Ding, ding, ding. Good job. All right, so this one's a little tougher. Linha de baixo. Linha de baixo.
I'm going to say...
These are all musically related, by the way. Like musical phrases, metal phrases.
I'm going to say... double bass drum.
I'm going to give you half point because bass is correct. It was a bass line. Linha de baixo.
Okay.
Baixo, something like that. Baixo. All right, this is probably the toughest one. Bateria. Kind of like battery. Bateria.
I'm going to say... moshing. Mosh.
It's a drum set.
Oh, okay.
I'm guessing because you batter on it? I don't know.
Oh, okay.
So keep your last answer in mind. Poço de mosh.
Mosh! Mosh pit.
Yes, mosh pit. A poço de mosh. In fact, Portuguese for mosh pit is just mosh pit. I had to look up mosh and pit separately. Most of the ones I try to give you thrash metal and you're just like, thrash metal. I'm like, okay. All right, last one. Menos conversa, más roque. Menos conversa, más roque.
Screaming vocals.
Less talk, more rock.
Okay, I like that.
All right, you did pretty good though. I mean, I don't speak Portuguese. You don't speak Portuguese, so my I don't know that I could have done as well as you did. You got 2.5 of it. I'd say 2.5. That's half right.
Music's the universal language.
Exactly. You've sepultured your way through that one. Good job. Dude, thank you for coming back on the show. Again, you're one of my regular people, so you help make my show happen. I'm rounding out my 3rd year, get to be my 100th episode, and it means a lot to me that you keep helping me out, so I appreciate it, dude.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for keeping it on, and I'm going to come back on until you kick me off, I guess.
You're always welcome back. Do you know what you want to do next? Do you have any idea? You want to claim it now?
I have a few things I'm kicking around, so I'm going to keep it a secret.
Okay.
But
right.
It's going to be metal.
Okay. I mean, you've only done one non-metal album, so that makes sense. You are my metal professor, after all.
But yeah, it's going to be a banger, so don't you worry.
All right. I'm not worried. All right, buddy. Well, have a great trip in England. Tell Ozzy I said hello. By the time this airs, you'll be back, so hopefully we'll hear about it then. Take care, buddy.
Awesome. Thank you, man. Have a good one.
You too. Thanks. Thank you again to Brandon for coming back on the show, keeping us schooled on all things metal. As it turned out, shortly after Brandon saw Ozzy's last show, Ozzy passed away. So when he comes back on the show, I'm sure that Brandon will have a lot to say about that show and about Ozzy. You too could come on this show if you want to, if that's a thing that you want to do. Or maybe you know somebody that would be a good fit to be on the show, you think. You can send them my way. Just email me at 9394podcast@gmail.com. We mentioned Biohazard earlier. They had that album State of the World Address in 1994. This is their track Down for Life from that album. Pretty influential, right? Pretty unique metal sound. It'd be cool to talk about them with someone who's a fan. And any metal listeners, like, you got to get on this shit before Brandon gets to it at this rate. Like, hurry up. He's going to do them all. Which I won't have any problem with, but you might. And again, like, anyone can come on the show. All you got to do is pick an album. It doesn't have to be Biohazard. It just can't be something that I've already done. And it can't be Cypress Hill, except for that Cypress Hill is on this Biohazard album, so I'm making an exception. I'm announcing it officially. Cypress Hill is sort of allowed on this show in the form of Biohazard's State of the World Address. Well, it's not all of Cypress Hill. It's Send Dog, apparently. I just had to Google that to make sure, but whatever. At the end of the show, sometimes I'll do like a little bit of a chit-chat about what's going on in my life or whatever, and I just recorded one, but it was yet again me complaining about growing older. The privilege of getting older. I shouldn't complain about it, so I'm not even going to include it. I will just say instead that my life is doing good. It's back to school time for me and all teachers, and I'm excited about it. It's always nice to not work and get paid for it, but it's also nice to do things that you feel good about doing and that you get paid to do. So I'm lucky to have that, speaking of privilege. What else can I say here? Yeah. Okay. I guess I'll stop. Yeah. Oh no, wait. Rate, review the show, please. That would be very cool. Coming up on my 100th episode, and don't have a lot of ratings and reviews, to be honest. And I'm not. You don't have to write anything down. You don't even have to review. Just click the 5 hearts or whatever, or thumbs up, follow, subscribe, do that kind of stuff. Particularly on Apple and Spotify is helpful. Okay, I'll leave you alone now. I'll stop with my whatever this is that I'm doing here. All right, bye.
'93-'94, a music podcast with Travis Roy, is a labor of love. It is not and never will be monetized. Please don't sue.